Today we're looking at 15 things you didn't know about the seafood industry. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello, Aluxers. Today we're diving deep into the seafood industry. We're talking about lobsters, calamari, octopus, and other great dishes the ocean has to offer. Although many of them look highly attractive, the taste and the elaborate recipes you can make with them are pretty amazing. Most people buy seafood from a local supermarket or a farmer's market, already frozen and cleaned. But from the fishing boat to the shelves is a pretty long journey. Seafood is considered any form of food that's taken from the sea, including fish, sea plants, and algae. It might be a smelly and cold industry to work in, but the sea is abundant, and fish can bring in a lot of money. So, let's have a look at the industry that provides the opulent dinners with caviar, sushi, oysters, and other yummy and expensive seafoods. Even if you're not a fish lover, this one can give you some great business insight. So, let's get to it, shall we? If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. Number 1. Vegan seafood options are now on the market. Veganism has more and more fans all over the world, so the demand for vegan options is pretty big. There aren't a lot of good brands that do vegan chicken or vegan cheese, so this niche market could use some more competition. But did you know there is vegan seafood? If you're a seafood lover but also a vegan, then you're set. Vegan seafood is about to become a big business. The few brands that already offer plant-based fish barely manage to keep shelves stocked because of demand. This alternative can save the oceans from overfishing, but put to sleep an entire industry of fishermen. Number 2. Bluefin tuna is the most expensive seafood in the world. Salmon, oysters, or caviar are very expensive seafood options, but we found out there is another fish that's even more expensive than anything you've seen before. We're talking about the bluefin tuna that comes from Japan. Over the years, its price fluctuates a lot, from $176,000 to $1.76 million in 2003. You end up paying around $3,600 per pound. As you can imagine, Japanese people go crazy for it. In fact, they're accounted for eating over 50% of the world's bluefin tuna. Number 3. Portugal, Korea, and Norway are the biggest sea consumers. Coastal countries, or those who have sea openings, benefit from fresh fish and lower prices for seafood. As you can imagine, their entire food culture evolves around fish, but there are a few countries that take seafood very seriously. The top 3 countries are Portugal, Korea, and Norway. They are the biggest seafood consumers, scoring around 60 kilograms per capita. The Republic of Korea consumes 78.5 kilograms per capita, followed by Norway with 66.6 kilograms, and Portugal at 61.5 kilograms. Honorable mentions go to Myanmar, Malaysia, Japan, and China. Number 4. Most people eat imported fish. Out of all the countries in the world, 193 nations have sea openings. This means that most countries have some sort of sea opening and the opportunity to get fresh fish. Unfortunately, the seafood industry is dominated by a few key players, so most people end up buying and consuming imported fish. It's not mentioned on the label the origin place of the fish, but you can do a little research and find out if your country can provide that variety or not. The seafood industry is focused on exports, and through supermarket chains, we get to enjoy a variety of seafood choices. The only downside is it cannot be fresh. Number 5. The seafood industry is worth roughly $130 billion. Fishing is one of the oldest jobs in the world. It has been a source of food for thousands of years, and now is a full-grown industry that stretches worldwide. Growing steadily year by year, seafood is now worth roughly $130 billion. By having a diversified production arsenal, including aquatic plants, aquaculture, and deep-sea fishing, China is now the biggest fish exporter in the world. For about 15 years, they've been number one, exporting fish worth over $14 billion. Second comes Norway with $8.8 billion, and third is Vietnam with $5.8 billion. Number 6. Overfishing of EU fisheries is costing 3.2 billion euros a year and around 100,000 jobs. Each industry in the world starts small, with a few companies that say potential. Nowadays, there's hardly any industry that's not highly saturated and on the verge of disruption. Because the seafood industry runs on natural resources that are harder to regenerate, it often causes overfishing. The industry has been exploiting its seas for decades now, and it comes with a cost. The EU is losing €3.2 billion a year because it won't let fisheries recover to their maximum. Number 7. Seafood contains mercury and now microplastic particles. The media and the entire industry is focused on one problem only: the slavery and low wages of fishermen. Another alarming problem is the fact the fish we eat is contaminated with microplastic particles that end up in our bodies. A rich diet of seafood can also lead to mercury poisoning, but it looks like aside from that, plastic has managed to find its way into marine life. These plastic particles are toxic, and it's contaminating both our oceans and our lives. If this gets out of hand, we won't have any seafood industry in the future. Number 8. The U.S. trade war with China might cause significant loss to Alaska's seafood industry. President Donald Trump has an active trade war with China. They keep imposing special and higher taxes for exports towards each other, causing many industries a lot of financial suffering. Because China is Alaska's biggest seafood market, if the taxes keep this way, there'll be repercussions. Alaska might be losing its biggest client and over $1 billion in fish sales. China might be looking to import fish from other countries, breaking a partnership that went on for years until this trade war and foreign affair issues. Number 9. Hurricanes affect the coastal seafood industry. When a hurricane hits, it affects everything in its path, not only people and homes, but industries and businesses as well. The seafood industry suffers a major setback after each hurricane, and sometimes it takes years to recover. Local fisheries and fishermen end up suffering the most, while bigger corporations have the money to cover for maintenance. Florida is often hit by hurricanes, so local fisheries are constantly struggling with this problem. But there are always ways. Some have started successful crowdfunding campaigns to cover the cost. Number 10. A professional fisherman can have a $1 million career. We bet each one of you knows at least one person that is crazy passionate about fishing. It's a hobby a lot of people love, but some have managed to turn it into a $1 million career, and that is amazing. One of those lucky fishermen is Kevin VanDam, who has a net worth of roughly $6 million. He's been fishing in tournaments and has been awarded many times for his achievements. He's been fishing for 30 years now, so it explains the money he's got. And Aluxers, if you're curious if you're going to become a millionaire anytime soon yourself, then watch closely to our video where we tell you all the real signs to look for. Just click in the top right corner to check it out. Number 11. Australia demands the industry provide more origin labeling. There are certain fish that can only be found in deep ocean water or around rocks. In order to keep the industry and supply chain more transparent, Australia implemented a new law that states each seafood product must contain the origin on the label. This way, customers can choose if they want to support local or international brands, and they can also have a better understanding of where their food comes from. They want this law to be implemented throughout all food services. Now that Australia has set the bar, hopefully other nations will follow suit. Number 12. It's better to buy an existing business than to start a new one in the seafood industry. Seafood business is a tough one. There are major key players on the market already that own huge ships and equipment fitted for fishing. So if you plan on starting out on your own, get ready for a lot of physical work, harsh weather conditions, and many ups and downs. If you opt for a second-hand business, then it's easier to get a loan and the entire household. If you're lucky enough, it'll come with a client base and some good quality equipment that will last you years, just enough to get a taste for it. For those who want everything new, a franchise is definitely the way to go. Number 13. Rare fish is best for wholesale seafood. Because the seafood industry is so much affected by the weather, the environment, or financial crisis, it's better to be doing it safely, as in have a good business plan and a strategy. One way to go about it is wholesale, selling your products to restaurants, hotels, co-ops, or seafood markets. This strategy works even better if you can provide them with specific seafood species they want, like blue crab or high-grade salmon. There are distributors that can help you get to the clients and sell all your products more easily. Number 14. Seafood ice cream flavors exist. Ice cream comes in many flavors and textures. Whether you want gelato, sorbet, or a mousse, there is a flavor to please each and every person. For those who want something else for their taste buds, there are some crazy flavors as well. In Japan, seafood-flavored ice cream is very popular. It might not be the most hyped about dish you'll see in the top lists, but for those brave enough, there are some incredible varieties to try. Seaweed, oyster, whale, eel, shrimp, crab, squid, and octopus, to name a few. Would you try it? I don't know. Number 15. The oysters we eat are not those that make pearls. Real pearls that take years to form are crazy expensive and found in special oysters. Fine quality natural pearls are very rare and expensive. Some can even cost millions of dollars. Pearls are just calcium carbonate that occur in some mollusks. Even so, although the pearl oysters look similar to those we eat as seafood, they are very different. They come from different families and have different purposes. Don't worry, you're not eating a pearl by mistake. Aside from the smell, the wetness, and all the weird-looking marine creatures, the seafood industry offers a look inside something that's like nothing you'd imagine. Fishermen are hardworking people that work many hours to ensure that you get to enjoy some caviar, salmon, lobster, or tuna. What do you think, Aluxers? Would you ever do any of these hardworking physical jobs for a living? It's quite a high-paying job, but also hard work, and it can be dangerous. Let us know in the comments if you would do it and why. And of course, since you're still with us, counting down the last seconds of this video, we have one more fact for you, your bonus. Here it is. Number 16. Lobsters and crabs may feel pain. For years, animal activists have been saying that lobsters and crabs are tortured when boiled alive. Because not all marine life have been studied so long, there is a common belief that some of them are such basic creatures they don't even feel pain because their nervous system isn't fully developed. However, some new research says they may feel pain after all, and they can even scream or react to anesthetics. But there isn't enough proof about this yet. It's more of an ethical issue. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxer. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. If you want more, we handpicked these videos you might enjoy, or head over to Alux.com for the best in fine living content on the planet. Be a part of the largest community of luxury enthusiasts in the world and tell your story.